Humanism. Humanism is a philosophical approach that prioritizes human agency, reason, and ethical responsibility. It argues that humans can solve problems and improve society through science, compassion, and cooperation. Core beliefs include individual dignity, equality, and critical inquiry. Rituals are minimal, though some humanists hold life ceremonies that celebrate milestones in secular ways. Humanism has influenced education, social reform, and democratic values. It raises a practical question. If human well-being is the central measure of morality, what choices best promote collective flourishing? Agnosticism. Agnosticism is the view that the ultimate truth about God or the divine is unknown or perhaps unknowable. Agnostics neither affirm nor deny a higher power. Instead, they suspend judgment due to limited evidence. This position emphasizes intellectual humility and openness to multiple possibilities. Rituals are not prescribed, but agnostics often participate in secular or cultural practices. Society benefits from their perspective on dialogue and uncertainty. It encourages the question, how much wisdom comes from acknowledging what we do not know? Atheism. Atheism is the position that there is no deity or divine being. Rather than a religion, it is a worldview built on skepticism, evidence-based thinking, and natural explanations for the universe. Atheists may still follow ethical frameworks through humanism, science, or philosophy. There are no fixed rituals, though communities may emphasize critical thinking and secular reflection. Atheism contributes to scientific development, rational inquiry, and public debate on ethics. It invites a personal question. If life has no predetermined purpose, how do we define purpose for ourselves? Hinduism. Hinduism developed in the Indian subcontinent over 3,000 years ago, growing from earlier Vedic traditions into a broad, diverse family of beliefs. Its core idea is that reality is an interconnected whole, and the human soul, called Atman, is part of a larger universal spirit known as Brahmin. Hindu thought teaches karma, the principle that actions carry consequences across lifetimes, shaping rebirth in a cycle called samsara. Liberation from this cycle, known as moksha, comes through disciplined living, spiritual insight, and moral action. Rituals vary widely, but commonly include daily prayers, temple offerings, and festivals honoring different deities such as Vishnu, Shiva, and Devi. Hinduism's societal impact includes shaping India's literature, ethics, art, and social customs. It raises a question worth reflecting on. If every action moves the soul forward or backward, what kind of choices define a meaningful life? Buddhism. Buddhism began in the 6th century BCE when Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, concluded that human suffering comes from attachment and desire. His core teaching is the Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists, its cause is craving, it can end, and there is a clear path to end it. This path is the Noble Eightfold Path, which emphasizes ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. Buddhist practice includes meditation, mindfulness, chanting, and monastic life for those who choose it. The goal is to reach nirvana, a state beyond suffering, and ego Buddhism's influence spread across Asia, shaping cultures from Thailand to Japan. Through art, philosophy, and community values, it invites a practical question. How much of our stress comes from clinging to things we cannot control? Jainism. Jainism arose in India around the same time as Buddhism, emphasizing radical nonviolence toward all beings. Its central belief is that every living entity has a soul capable of spiritual liberation. Harm to any being binds the soul with karmic matter, so Jains commit deeply to nonviolence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy or restraint, and minimal attachment. Rituals include meditation, fasting, and careful ethical living. Jain communities have made significant contributions to business, education, and environmental ethics. Their principles challenge everyone to ask, what would the world look like if every action aimed to avoid harm? Sikhism. Sikhism emerged in the 15th century in Punjab under Guru Nanak, who taught that God is one, all humans are equal, and spiritual life must be combined with honest work and service. Key beliefs include devotion to God through meditation, rejection of caste divisions, and moral living. Sikhs follow the teachings of 10 gurus recorded in the Guru Granth Sahib. Their sacred text rituals include daily prayer, community meals known as langar, and maintaining articles of faith such as the turban. Sikhism's global impact includes strong traditions of humanitarianism and community service. It encourages a question about social responsibility. What would change if every community prioritized feeding others before feeding itself? Judaism. Judaism began over 3,000 years ago with the covenant between God and the Israelites, shaped through texts like the Torah. Its core ideas include monotheism, moral responsibility, and a commitment to justice and community. Jews follow laws and teachings covering worship, ethics, and communal life. Common rituals include Sabbath observance, dietary laws, prayer, and festivals such as Passover and Yom Kippur. Judaism's societal influence includes shaping Western moral thought, legal ideas, and ethical traditions. Its long history of endurance raises a reflective question. How does a community preserve identity across millennia of change? Christianity. Christianity began in the 1st century CE with the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, who preached love, forgiveness, and the arrival of God's kingdom. Christians believe Jesus is the Son of God whose life, death, and resurrection offer salvation. Core beliefs include grace, faith, and the transformative power of love. Christian practice incorporates prayer, worship, sacraments like baptism and communion, and acts of charity. Christianity has had massive cultural influence, shaping music, literature, law, and social reform movements. It invites a question that many reflect on. What does it mean to love one's neighbor in practice rather than theory? Islam. Islam began in the 7th century in Arabia through the revelations given to the Prophet Muhammad, recorded in the Quran. Muslims believe in one God, Allah, and follow the 5 pillars: declaring faith, prayer 5 times daily, charity, fasting during Ramadan, and pilgrimage to Mecca. Islam emphasizes justice, compassion, and personal accountability on the Day of Judgment. Rituals structure daily life, creating a rhythm of worship and discipline. Islam's influence spans law, science, architecture, and global culture. Its teachings raise an introspective question. How does consistent daily practice shape a person's character over a lifetime? Taoism. Taoism developed in ancient China, rooted in texts like the Tao Te Ching. Its main idea is the Tao, the natural way of the universe, and the belief that harmony comes from flowing with life rather than resisting it. Taoist principles encourage simplicity, balance, and patience. Rituals vary from quiet meditation to elaborate ceremonies in religious Taoism. Concepts like yin and yang influence Chinese medicine, martial arts, and philosophy. Taoism leads to a practical question. What happens when we stop forcing outcomes and start moving with the natural rhythm of things? Confucianism. Confucianism, founded by the philosopher Confucius around the 5th century BCE, focuses on ethical living, respect, and social harmony. Its core beliefs emphasize responsibility within relationships, parent and child, ruler and citizen, friend and friend. Virtues like loyalty, honesty, and kindness guide behavior. Rituals center on respect for ancestors, moral education, and community order. Confucian thought shaped the political and cultural foundations of East Asia for centuries. It prompts a timeless question. How much stronger would society be if every person honored their duties with sincerity? Shinto. Shinto is the traditional spirituality of Japan, centered on kami, sacred spirits in nature, ancestors, and community life. Unlike organized religions, Shinto has no single founder or central scripture. Its practices include purification rituals, shrine visits, seasonal festivals, and offerings to kami. Shinto blends seamlessly with Japanese culture, influencing ceremonies, architecture, and daily customs. Its worldview opens a reflective idea. What if the natural world is not just scenery, but a living presence deserving gratitude? Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism formed in ancient Persia around 1200 BCE through the prophet Zoroaster. It teaches a cosmic struggle between truth, represented by Ahura Mazda, and falsehood, represented by destructive forces. Humans participate in this struggle through choices that promote good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Rituals involve fire temples, purity practices, and community ceremonies. Though small today, Zoroastrianism influenced Judaism, Christianity, and Islam through concepts like heaven, hell, and judgment. It raises a sharp ethical question. If life is a battleground between truth and deceit, which side do our daily actions strengthen? Indigenous belief systems. Indigenous belief systems vary widely, but share core themes: connection to the land, reverence for ancestors, and the belief that all life forms are spiritually linked. Many traditions include creation stories tied to specific landscapes, seasonal ceremonies, healing rituals, and oral teachings. The worldview treats nature as a living relative, not an object. To dominate. These systems influence environmental stewardship, community values, and cultural identity. They ask a vital question: how differently would we treat the earth if we saw it as family?